Come in. Hi.
Hi.
Nice to see you again. Have a
Nice to see you
seat.
again too.
How have you been?
I've been okay. I guess.
Are you sure you feel okay? You've been saying that you've been feeling really stressed and down. How are you feeling now?
Yes, I'm still feeling like that. It's getting worse at home though.
Oh yes, that's true. In our last appointment about a month ago, you said that you're moving in with Steven, your boyfriend. How's that going?
Things haven't really been going well lately. He recently lost his job. And we're having trouble paying rent these days. He's like the main provider in the household, so that causes like a lot of stress on both of us.
I'm really sorry to hear about that. Is there anything else that he's doing that's making you stress more?
Yeah, but I'm kind of nervous talking about it.
That's okay. Take your time. If you're uncomfortable, we can stop.
Okay. Well, he's been checking my phone a lot lately, being jealous about that. He's telling me what to wear. He's making me feel guilty about going out with my friends and telling me it's bad to be spending our money.
I'm really sorry you're going through that. It must be really hard having somebody to watch your every move. Are you having any doubts about moving in with him?
Yeah, I've been recently having doubts about the moving in. But I mean, couples fight all the time. It's a normal thing for couples to go through that, especially during the moving process and the stress. And I mean, he took me in when I had nowhere else to go.
Have you tried talking to him about your concerns?
Yes, I have, but he would get really angry about it. He would try and get in my face, shout, and yell at me. Most times this would kind of lead to violence.
I'm sorry to hear that. It must be really hard on you. You said that it would lead to violence sometimes, but what kind of violent act would he do?
He's done some pretty bad things. One time he pushed me against the wall. He slapped me across the face. The worst thing he's ever done was choke me. I feel like it's not really his fault. Like, I feel like it's my fault as well. You know, I pushed his buttons when he was stressed. Sometimes I feel like I deserved that.
It's really never okay for anybody to hit you, regardless of what the situation is. Like, you have the right to talk about your concerns and whatever questions you have in the relationship without having to worry about him hitting you.
I know, but he told me he would stop. And I do love him a lot.
I can see that you're struggling with this a lot. You're definitely hurting. How are you coping?
I feel helpless and I feel like I'm a huge burden on him. I feel like he would just be better off without me. I know this sounds really bad, but I've been feeling really sad lately. And that sometimes I feel like it would not be worth living anymore, to be honest.
Okay. Have you ever attempted suicide before?
I'm not really sure if I want to share this with you. But yeah, I have recently tried with pills a few days ago. I have recurring thoughts of doing it again sometimes. But I would really appreciate it if you don't tell anyone about this. I want you to keep this between us two, if that's okay.
Don't worry, I'll keep this between us. The next step would be to book an appointment to make a plan. So feel free to contact me if you have any questions or if you feel like that again.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you so much, Christy.
You're welcome.
I'm not really sure if I want to share this with you. But yeah, I have recently tried with pills a few days ago. I have recurring thoughts of doing it again sometimes. But I would really appreciate it if you don't tell anyone about this. I want you to keep this between us two, if that's okay.
I understand you don't want this information to leave the room, but your best interest is my highest priority, so I have no choice but to report this.
Really? It was only once. I won't do it again.
I understand, but it is my duty to report this. I'll be right back. I'm going to talk to my director.
Come in. Oh, hi, Christy.
Hi. Sorry to bother you.
That's okay.
I just want to talk to you about this issue I had with this client.
What's the issue?
I'm really unsure what actions to take because my client has recently informed me that she has attempted suicide with pills and that she's still thinking about committing suicide.
Okay, what else has she said?
She has mentions only from time to time, but like she has easy access to medication, she has an abusive partner, and she also doesn't have a lot of support. I'm actually really worried about her. What should I do?
So you're definitely right. You should report it. There's a scale. It's called the Suicide Risk Assessment Scale, and she falls in the category that's like high risk for self-harm. So I would suggest calling the Ontario Mental Health Line. So I have the number here. I can give this to you, and then you should definitely report it.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for your time.
No worries.
Okay, Shana, I'm back. Hi, I need to report one of my clients. She's attempted suicide, and I'm afraid she's gonna attempt again.
In our scenario, the social worker was faced with a dilemma by a client who admitted to previously attempting suicide and continuing to have these thoughts. Based on this session, the social worker was able to determine that the client was at high risk for harming herself. The social worker was aware of the Suicide Risk Assessment Scale, which aided in her decision.
The ethical issue is to determine if confidentiality should be breached in order to protect the client's life. Due to the ethical principles screen, protection of life is the most important principle when someone is at future harm. In this scenario, there is a clear and real danger, and this shows it has to be reported because it may lead to actions that can disrupt the client's life.
The possible dilemma that she was faced with was that in some cases, some counselors can be accused of overreacting and reporting when not necessary, but in the video, the client mentioned that she had access to pills, she tried to commit suicide before, and on top of that, her only support system was abusive towards her. So class, what section of the Code of Ethics applies here?
The first section of the Code of Ethics is social work or social service worker shall maintain the best interests of the client as a primary professional obligation. Throughout the video, the social worker maintained the best interests of the client by reporting a possible future suicide attempt. Even though the client didn't want that to happen, the social worker had to take in consideration of her well-being and best interest overall.
The second section in the Code of Ethics is, a social worker or social service worker shall have and maintain competence in the provision of a social work or social service service to the client. The social worker had the knowledge on the Suicide Risk Assessment Scale and the information that was disclosed by the client. The social worker was able to assess that the client was at a high risk for harming herself. In the Code of Ethics, he or she ensures that the services he or she provides are competently provided by seeking additional supervision, consultation, and/or education, and the services are not beyond the member's professional scope of practice. This was shown when the social worker approached the director about the issue and asked for reassurance on the potential decision.
The last Code of Ethics that applies is, a social worker or social service worker shall protect the confidentiality of all professionally acquired information. He or she shall disclose such information only when required or allowed by law to do so, or when clients have consented to disclosure. So in the video, the social worker has always respected confidentiality with the client, but in this case, she was legally obligated to report it because the client was at risk of harming herself, like she had done previously a few days ago.